Well, we know for sure there's going to be some fireworks when Republicans object to the Electoral College results next week. We also know this isn't the first time this sort of thing has happened. Doug Wead and Craig Shirley joins us. They're coming up. Hi, guys. Are you there?
We're with you.
Okay, hi. Seriously, you guys, you know what? We were actually together last night, and here we are together again on New Year's Day. So I'm spending about more time with you guys than I have anyone so far in the new year.
Thanks, Emerald.
Now, this is interesting. There's actually this act, the Electoral Count Act, that's getting quoted a lot. It's the Act of 1887. I got it confused a little earlier today, 1876, because it's based on that election. So, Doug, how does that directly affect what happens next week? That law from 150 years ago?
Well, and the 12th Amendment, the Electoral College has been refined by the Constitution over the years. Right. There's one big caveat, Emerald, here in all of this discussion. I've been watching you tonight, and that is the national televised news media did not exist in 1800.
Good point.
And the founding fathers could never have anticipated the power they would have. Dwight Eisenhower was very worried about it, and his press secretary, James Haggerty, was saying, oh, Paley and Sarnoff, these are wonderful people. You can trust them. But stop and think of this. If the national news media can convince half of the country, at least, that Donald Trump was a Russian spy, they shouldn't have much trouble convincing a lot of Americans that, fraud or not, they should accept Joe Biden's presidency. I would think if I were on the Biden team, you'd want an investigation. You want to be a legitimate president. If you didn't cheat, you'd want it tested.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're going to fight it all the way.
And you know what, Craig? Back when Thomas Jefferson was president, we also didn't have the news media, the televised news media watching everything. And there's questions about what he did when he was vice president and reading the electors then. And a lot of people are asking, is Mike Pence going to pull a Jefferson? Well, what exactly is a Jefferson?
Well, basically what it was that he needed a certain amount of electoral college votes to win the presidency. Several states actually, because they couldn't bring themselves to vote for Hamilton, but neither could they, or not Hamilton, but for Jefferson or for Adams, is that they abstained. They didn't vote. They didn't cast ballots, and that reduced the number required of electoral college ballots needed to secure the presidency. As it went to the House of Representatives. There was 36 votes in the House of Representatives. Thomas Jefferson won on 36 ballot only after Alexander Hamilton brought himself to vote for Jefferson because he found Aaron Burr so reprehensible. But then though Jefferson was his mortal enemy, he thought Jefferson was at least qualified to be president of the United States. But I've just scratched the surface here, Emerald. There was so much inner workings and machinations and backstabbing and everything else that was going on. I'm just scratching the surface of what really happened in the election of 1800.
So that's nothing new, is what you're telling me, Doug. Real quick.
Nothing new whatsoever.
Doug, real quick, about 15 seconds. So, a yes or a no? Is Mike Pence going to pull a quote unquote Jefferson?
Boy, I don't. And then 1876, you didn't get into that. But
okay.
Samuel Tilton and Rutherford B. Hayes, and it was Florida. It was fraudulent votes from Florida, South Carolina, Oregon, and Louisiana that were in question then. But they took it on. They dealt with it. We'll see if Pence will do that.
Well, thank you guys, Doug, Craig. It's good to see you again on New Year's Day.
If you want a litany of all the good things that Donald Trump did as president, get inside Trump's White House. It's the authorized version, the authorized account of the Trump White House. Great stories. You know, they text each other every day. So here's Melania and Ivanka and Jared and Laura, the great love story of Eric and Laura. You got to read that. And hide and go seek with the 9 grandchildren racing through the state floors and Barron's supervising. Here it is in Dutch, it's in Japanese and Korean and Chinese and all over the world. A great positive read of what our president accomplished in his historic years. subscribe to this channel. It's the only way we know to defeat the censors. They change the numbers of views, they shadow ban, they throttle. The only way we've been able to try to get videos directly to our people is if they subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell. We're trying to survive this era of censorship, the new Soviet era of the United States.